We are currently joined by the Belgium manager, Roberto Martinez. We spoke to him just before the break. We've got him for another 10 minutes, then the next 4 hours. No, I'm only joking. How was your coffee, Roberto? Was it nice?
Very enjoyable, Andy.
Okay, we had nothing this end. Listen, we'll talk about your career at international level and what could be around the corner for you in just a moment. But listen, you've managed over here, of course, in England, Everton and Wigan and Swansea, of course, if you win Wales. But you know how desperate we are for success at international level. You played us, of course, at the last World Cup. You beat us to get that bronze medal. You've seen us get to the finals of the Euros. When you look at the England side now, do you think we are a bigger threat to world football than perhaps the team your side met 4 years ago at the World Cup?
Well, I must admit that facing England...
Oh, I think we've lost him. Roberto?
International, because yeah.
Sorry, we lost you there. We've got you back. Sorry, go on, off you go.
Brilliant. No, I think obviously I was saying that facing England now, international level, is a really tough task because you're facing a really committed group of players that they play as a team. I think what Gareth has brought together is an environment where each player fits in a very specific role and they become very competitive. Obviously, we faced England in 2018. Then we had another 2 games in the Nations League. And what you see is the way that they become really flexible and tactically a very modern team. When you got a league like the Premier League with the amount of players that they play in the most competitive league in the world, you got a lot of tools to be that flexible. And I think Gareth has achieved those 2 things: a team that it can adapt, that it can use different strengths, and then a team that is really, really committed to be as good as they can. For me to reach the finals of the Euros, to reach the top 4 in a World Cup, to reach the Final 4 in the Nations League, I think it shows you that consistency. And I think England, they need to go to the World Cup, and they are seen as one of the teams that they can win the tournament.
Roberto, when you talk about England and you said there that you feel they're one of the teams that could potentially win the next World Cup, who else do you look at and think they're one of the favourites? Obviously, not including Belgium, who are your team, because they are one of the favourites, but who else do you look at and think they could be the winners in the next World Cup?
Well, I think there's no such a thing as a favourite team going into a World Cup. I think when you work in a World Cup, you realise that there are very small margins. There are moments that aspects like a penalty shootout, a wrong decision, that can really change your faith. It's not a tournament to be favourite. What it is that there is a group of teams or national teams that you feel that on the day they can beat anyone. And I think there are 8 national teams. The 4 that they finished in the World Cup in Russia, you need to add Spain, you need to add Germany, and then you need to add Denmark, just because of the consistency that they had at competitive level in the last 2 years. They are a team that on the day they can beat anyone. And then you got Brazil and Argentina, just because there are national teams that they've got that belief in that culture that make them favorite when they go into a big tournament. They won the Copa America both, and they're in great moments. So any of those national teams, they are capable for history or for the players that they have, that they're capable of winning a tournament.
Roberto, after the World Cup, what's next for you? How long is your contract to be in charge of the national side for? Have you thought about your future? And also, would you like to come back and manage at some stage or another side in the Premier League?
Well, at the moment, obviously, I came to Belgium for 2 years. We're still here 6 years later, and it's been such an enjoyable project. And we're going to have a conversation with the federation, and we're going to sit down and see what's next. At the moment, it's just the World Cup. The focus is the World Cup, and I think it would be wrong for me as a coach just to look any further or do anything different. And in my life, in my career, I've been so bad in my predictions. I've learned very quickly not to predict because I get it wrong. But I've learned that you need to enjoy with intensity the day and the job that you got in hands, and nothing is bigger than a World Cup.
And at one stage, would you like to come back and manage in the Premier League, whenever that would be?
Well, I'm still like a young coach, so I hope that I can carry on for many, many years to come. And as I said, I never expected to be an international level for 6 years and having expected to become an international coach in 2016. So whatever it is more about the project, is about somewhere that you feel that you can work, that you can be given time to work, and that project can be anywhere. It doesn't need to be in a specific league, in a specific nation. I'm always a curious person, and I've been like that since the age of 16, and I don't think that's gonna change.
I want to ask you about one of your coaches in Thierry Henry, who works closely with the national team. What sort of impact has he had on the squad? And certainly, as we spoke about earlier, Romelu Lukaku, because he had a tough time last season. But how did Thierry play? What role did he play to help him?
Well, you can imagine Thierry, first of all, he's got this passion for football. I think when you hear him talking about the game, it's his life, is what he feels, and it's so contagious. In terms of he's become a coach that is much can use his own experience at a very good way. You would love to work with him. As a striker, all you want is to get a little bit of an insight. The way that he was performing as a striker is the best substance that you can have as a coach. For us, Thierry brought the unknown. When I came to Belgium, I never managed internationally. I didn't know what it meant to go into a major tournament. Thierry is not just that he's been in a major tournament, it's just he's won the World Cup, he's won the Euros, and it can be a very good sounding board for any player, not just away from the coaching side, which that's something that is very natural on him. It's more about the experience and how you should feel as a player that you are expected to perform for your national team. And I think that's a real good help, and it brings such a calmness and the right advice at the right time for a player that he needs to be able to be himself and being able to enjoy the pressures of playing a World Cup. And Thierry has become a big part of our technical staff and someone that is essential in our group.
Darren was desperate to ask that question. He's a big fan of Thierry Henry. Listen, we've only got you for
No wonder.
We all are, to be fair. We've only got you for a couple of more minutes. It's been fascinating speaking to you. I've got a couple of sort of quick fire questions. I'm sure you saw the controversy in the Spurs game yesterday surrounding VAR. I just wanted to know your view. I suppose the obvious question is it worth the wait, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, if we always get the right decision? Are you a fan of VAR?
Yes, with a but. I feel that the system that we currently use with the lines is not accurate. So then it's so unfair for a referee that is developing his own career to be good on making decisions, then he's given a decision where the technology is not accurate. I'm not saying in general. I think the concept of VAR to give extra time to make the right call, I'm in favor totally. But now in the World Cup, we got an opportunity to see the new technology, which is the semi-automatic offside, and I'm a big. I think I'm in favor immensely because I believe in that system. Drawing the lines and seeing the frame and stopping this is a tool that it brings a big error from a human side, and it was very unfair on referees. So I don't mind to wait. I think there is a timekeeping issue that we need to solve, not just for the VAR, for in general. I think we want the games to be as fluent as we can. We want the fans to enjoy football, and if we have to come for a solution just to play the right time, that will be the next step. But VAR, well used with the right technology, is a help to the game.
It certainly is. And I want to ask you quickly about one of your former sides, Everton, but more importantly about one player, Amadou Onana. I mean, how excited are you about him, and what sort of potential do you think he's got?
Yeah, well, Amadou is, you have to ask twice how old he is. He's a very mature player, doesn't behave as a 21 years old. In Belgium, we're all very excited about what he can bring. We kept him on the under-21s. We were very much conscious that he had to burn some stages, and he was the captain of the under-21s. They qualified in the quickest number of games in the history of the Belgium under-21s in the European Championships. He has that type of effect. He's a leader. He's someone that has got real high standards. He's got a physicality that he reminds many people to the old Marouane Fellaini, and then he's got that technical quality that allows him to play in different positions. I've seen Amadou growing a lot since the beginning of the season, and now you can see the influence that he has at Everton, and I feel that he's a perfect fit. He's a great young player with a lot to do, but in a club that they will value and treasure the qualities that he brings as a young midfielder.
Roberto, I've got one question left for you, but you have to answer with yes or no. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's not the question, by the way. So you do incredibly well with Belgium at the World Cup, and then at some stage in the future, could be a year, could be 10, could be 5, whenever, Pep Guardiola leaves Man City and they phone you up and say, would you like to be the next manager of Man City? Would you take the job?
How can you answer this, yes or no?
You have to. You have to.
You give me so many.
Ask me, look. No. Okay? Because I'm a Man United fan. What would your answer be, Roberto?
Well, I think there are big shoes to fill. Whoever is going to replace Pep Guardiola. I think there are certain jobs in world football that you're thinking, whoever's going to follow that man is got a big job to do.
Okay, I've just got a little box here. It just says yes or no. Which one shall I tick? I'm only joking. I'm not going to push you. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. It really has. It really has. Would you do me a favour that if England meet Belgium at some stage in the World Cup, would you substitute Kevin De Bruyne for us?
You know what? I had to do that at Wembley, and I still regret it to this day. So I won't do it again.
Oh dear.
Can I just say I enjoy more having Darren in a microphone rather than having him on the pitch? That it gave me a couple of bad nights preparing the game.
I thought you meant playing for him.
Yes,
right?
I thought.
There's no way you wanted him to play under you.
Having him in front of me.
Yeah. Hey, Roberto, listen, a real pleasure. Thank you so much. It's just
Thanks,
a
Roberto.
fascinating insight to talk to any manager before a World Cup, but even more so one with such a great squad and one of the favourites for it. So we wish you all the best. Of course, if you beat England, we hope you lose. But other than that, we hope you do really, really well in the tournament. And thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you to you.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you.
There you go. The wonderful Roberto Martinez.
Yeah.
He's great, isn't he?
He is great.
He's fantastic. What a lovely man as well. We can see him on. If you're lucky enough to watch that on YouTube, you would have seen him as well. He looks.
It must be like Christmas every time he meets up with that national team. With them treasures that he's working with.
They're fantastic. Get De Bruyne off if we play.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.